there.
Oh, absolutely a bad look. We were talking about his legacy in Seattle, and I think people thought it was like hot take to say that it was unfulfilled. It certainly wasn't by underachievement. Russell Wilson was a great quarterback. Russell Wilson was a champion quarterback, but it was unfulfilled because when Russell Wilson truly had sole possession of the keys to this franchise, he never delivered like they did when they had Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom. So I understand why Russell Wilson may have felt unfulfilled. But you know what that starts to affect? As we were talking earlier about Kaepernick. It's not a competence conversation with Russell Wilson. It was an interest conversation with Russell Wilson. Do you remember Russell Wilson coming out, his camp, reportedly saying, hey, these 4 destinations you can trade me to. If not, I'm a Seattle Seahawk. Remember that? That was a year ago, right? Was Denver even on that list? Oh, my God. So wait a minute. When we talk about buy-in, when we talk about the great game of skill, greater game of will, and you are already letting somebody know, I will date her, and her, and go with her. But she ain't even on the list. But I'm going to play for you, and I'm going to be with you. You don't think that's going to make people question your buy-in, make them question if you've checked out? Now, they get to see it on the daily. You used to get in at 6 o'clock. Now you're getting in at 6:30. Interesting. You used to go straight to the weight room. Now you kind of get a cup of coffee and just talk to the guys. Then all of a sudden you're not doing the same level of intensity in the workouts, et cetera, et cetera. And then we check the results and we're like, oh, that's not the same. And then it's no coincidence that's where the injuries occur. That's no coincidence that's when you don't play your best. It's no coincidence because it's all about the ingredients you're putting into your game. So for me, it comes back to this example. When people get off course, they think that it takes a huge left turn to throw you off course. No, for you to miss bullseye, all it takes is 1 degree of variation. Just like this, Acho, I'm looking dead at you. Just 1 degree of variation. But over time, over distance, over duration, that will look like I never could ever hit the mark. Russell Wilson, just taking your eye off the prize just a little. Day in, day out, as this report says, is why Russell Wilson checked out.
I quote Marcellus Wiley on the show more than I quote myself. I have no shame in doing so. I love Marcellus Wiley's quotes, some of them, not all, some of them.
Which one you like?
No one cares what you're doing.
Oh!
Shall you finish it, sir?
Until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
No one cares what you're doing until you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That is what Russell Wilson has fell victim to. So I do not think it is entirely a bad look. Marcellus Wiley said this. Russ showed up a little bit late to practice, figuratively speaking. We do not know this for certain.
Right.
Russ checked out a little bit early of team meetings, and then the team checked the results. I think that's false. I think the team checked the results first, his teammates. They were like, wait a second. It's December, and we're not in the playoffs yet? I think they got to New Year's. New Year's is typically the final game of the season or the second to last game of the season. And they were planning their vacations, and they were like, this is weird. But they got to spend more time with the kids?
Silly.
Wait a second. Like,
Hold
I think
up.
the teammates checked the results.
Hold up.
And then they started checking Russell Wilson. The only reason they're claiming that Russ checked out is because they're not in the playoffs. And when they're not in the playoffs, now you go back to Russ was on that magazine cover. He was on the cover of GQ with Sierra. Man, Russ did go to Fashion Week over there in Europe. Russ did have a coordinated. Man, he should have been practicing instead. Russ did show up late to meetings at one. Now that I think about it, that's the worst.
Oh, I hate when they
Now that I think about
Shut
it.
your retros.
They were kind of. That's what has happened with Russell Wilson. I think the locker room teammates are on that now that I think about it mode. I don't think Russ actually checked out, and we saw this. How can you claim he checked out when we were making fun of him for doing too much?
Yeah, coming back fast.
We were making fun of him for coming back fast, and we were making fun of him for, before the games, going through his 2-minute drills, even though he had a broken thumb with a helmet on. We can't have it both ways, y'all. And this is what we try to do on social media now. We want to clown Russell Wilson for trying too hard. Then we want to retroactively say Russell Wilson didn't try hard enough. Which one is it? Because we got all the jokes off about Russell Wilson when he had his whole hand taped up, and before games he wasn't playing in. He was making checks and going through 2-minute drills with the helmet on. We're like, come on, Russ, chill out, go rehab. But now we want to say that he was checked out and wasn't working hard enough. I ain't gonna have it.
99.9% of that was accurate. But there are two different voices. What social media says about Russell Wilson and then what his teammates say about Russell Wilson, including former teammates, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wags, et cetera. Like, Where there's smoke, there's, I don't know, fire, but it's warmer there. I think something's going on with Russell Wilson. We'll wait to see.